I don't think he cares that much, right? I don't think he cares like about the outside noise and stuff like that. But the question is, and the question's always going to be looming over him. I know I bring this up very frequently, but would Kawhi have been better off staying in Toronto? Because you had a team that was coming off of the NBA title. You had a young roster, specifically a very young team, a young core that the next year ended up being one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and was a game 7 away from, I believe, the Eastern Conference final. So they weren't no slouches after he left, and they had an off year this year, obviously, but still, the question's always going to loom over Kawhi, especially if he doesn't win again this year, and then it's gonna be like, man, you left something that was special too, because that Toronto team was special, and especially for Kawhi, because he was always searching for a team to call his own, a team that he wasn't in the shadow of Tim Duncan or Tony Parker, all those boys. He had it, and he had a whole country behind him, and he left, and we're seeing the results of the decision he made back in 2019, I believe. So again, it's always that's gonna be the biggest question of Kawhi's, the biggest what if, I think. If Kawhi doesn't end up winning with the Clippers, that's gonna be by far the biggest what if of Kawhi's career. What if he had stayed in Toronto? What if he had stuck it out and dealt with the cold of Canada, and potentially have been at least a back-to-back champion, like that, the way that team was working last year.
Yeah, they were. That Raptors team with Kawhi on it was only going to get better. They would have re-signed Lowry. They would have re-signed Van Vliet. Siakam would have been in a role that suited him better, and they had the pieces that fit. And you went to the Clippers to start anew and to build something different, and that's fine. You have every right to do that. No one's hating on him for that. But the choice that you made, now you live with it, and it's just very clear that this Clippers team is never going to be as good as that Raptors team was, as that Raptors team could have been. The pieces just don't fit. And I don't know. I don't know what you have to do, honestly, to shape that team around and to figure out what will make them win. Because they tried to move some stuff around and they lost Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers, and they, frankly, they upgraded at that position with Serge Ibaka, and they have some good guys around them. But if your core, if the leader of your team is going to be Patrick Beverly and Marcus Morris, I don't see it. I don't see it. Patrick Beverly is not Marcus Smart in the way that he attacks the game. He's a damned good player. There is no doubt about that. But Patrick Beverly is not a team leader. He's not a guy that's galvanizing dudes. He's a dog. He's a guy you get behind, sure, but he's not a leader. He's not communicating on defense. He's getting his, and he's making his plays. And if you do well because Patrick Beverly does his job, then that's on you. But Marcus Smart is the leader of a defense. And there's a difference there that I want to draw, right? There's a difference there that you don't get that out of Patrick Beverly, out of Kawhi, out of Paul George. These are not guys that uplift their teammates on the court. These are not guys that make their teammates better. They are incredibly good players who do incredibly awesome things, but they do not help their teammates also be awesome. And that's the difference between a guy like Kawhi and LeBron, where LeBron helps his teammates be awesome. He elevates the level of play. Anthony Davis, in his defensive ability, Giannis Antetokounmpo, in his defensive ability, Jimmy Butler, these are superstar, even Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, who get their teammates involved, who elevate their teammates on both ends of the floor or on the end of the floor that they specialize in. That's what these players do. They communicate, they get people organized, they lead in the huddle, they take responsibility when things go poorly, and they deflect success to their teammates. That's what leaders do. That's what these players do. And there's not a single one of them that you can point to on the Clippers and say, yeah, that's a guy that I'm going to go to war with. That's a guy who I know that I can charge behind. Uh, Sorry, you can't
I
win
would
without that.
I would say like Kawhi does have that to an extent. Like again, he's not gonna be like the guy who galvanizes the team with like a roaring speech. He's more like a lead by example. He's like bad
But
example
what's that
here.
example? Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the thing though, is he's a bad
Yeah,
example.
like
He's
like
the
he's
guy
like
who
obviously he's
went to
not at the
LA.
level of LeBron or even Giannis or Jimmy Butler in elevating his teammates, but he does elevate his teammates because he is that good of a player, I think.
Well, but that's the difference I'm drawing. I'm
Mm,
not just talking about being elite at your craft and therefore you elevate. It's the like it's the Dwayne Wade Carmelo Anthony. Why is Dwayne Wade a champion and Carmelo Anthony never became a champion? Is
good
because
example.
Carmelo Anthony was an elite player. He did his craft like nobody else ever did. But Carmelo Anthony got his and went home. Right? That was
Mm,
it. That doesn't mean he was a bad guy. His teammates all loved him. All for all we know, he was a great locker room guy. But the problem is that Carmelo Anthony didn't elevate his teammates in crunch time. His teammates had to play off of him instead of him playing part of the system, the team of his teammates. LeBron is a system. Dwayne Wade was a system who got his teammates involved, right? Kawhi is Carmelo Anthony, but better. Kawhi is Carmelo Anthony with defense, right?
a lot
That's
of
what Kawhi
defense.
is. A lot of defense, and that's
Yeah,
what makes Kawhi a better player than Carmelo Anthony. For when Carmelo Anthony was in his prime, there's no doubt about it.
yeah.
But Kawhi is mellow with defense, and you need leaders. You need those guys who are going to come in and get the ducks in a row, who are going to make it. That's why that Boston team needed Rajon Rondo, right? And that's what the Clippers hope that Rondo brings them in this playoff run is that leadership, right? That's why you bring him in, right? You hope that he does the playoff Rondo thing, and all the NBA sports writers will tell you that playoff Rondo is real. But that's what they hope he does. They hope that he is that guy that when the going gets tough, like it did last year against the Nuggets, instead of them pointing fingers at each other and yelling at each other and taking their balls and going home, that Rondo sits them down and says, "Look, guys, we got to get this shit done. We got to grind. We can't stop here. We got to keep moving." Right? That's why you bring in Rondo. And so we'll see. We'll see if Rondo has that effect for them. We'll see if Rondo is able to do that for them. But I don't know, man. You want to talk about leading by example, Kawhi? We're talking about the guy who had reports that he was showing up late to team flights and holding people back and not coming to practice and not going to meetings, and that he bitched out Doc Rivers and got him fired. Kawhi is not. Kawhi is a me guy. Kawhi is a very nice dude, I'm sure. But he is all about him and getting his. And if good things happen from that, that's great. But if they don't, doesn't really seem to matter because he's already been there, done that. He's got his two chips, right? He's got his legacy secure. All he's got to do at this point is rise up the regular season standings for points and rack up playoff wins, and that's going to get him in the Hall of Fame, and that's going to get him his bag, and the rest of it doesn't matter.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.